Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video session on daily news and editorial analysis dated 12th of December. Through this video session, I'll be discussing the important news and editorial both from the Hindu and Indian Express. The discussion and analysis of the news will cater all the aspirants who will be appearing for the Civil Services examination, State Public Service Commission examination, and one-day examination conducted by various state and union agencies. So through this entire discussion, I'll cater the news which is specifically relevant from the examination perspective, and we'll see the detail about that particular news. So let's get started with the highlights of the news. Then we'll proceed further with a detailed analysis of the news one by one. So the first news, that is about the recent Supreme Court judgment and the observation that was made by the Supreme Court, and they have said that the abrogation of Article 370 and special status to Jammu and Kashmir that was abrogated by the union government is actually valid, right? The second important news talks about the CBI and FBI. They are making a collaborations to overcome the part of cyber crime and fraudulent activities taken across the globe. The third important news talks about the government withdrawal for the 3 bill that was tabled in concern with the criminal law bill. जो 3 bill government ने actually table किए थे, उसको withdraw करने की बात की है सेंटर। Now the other important news talks about the caution from the Reserve Bank of India, basically loan waivers offer को लेकर के कई fraud ऐसे fraudulent activities चल रही हैं, RBI had made a caution to that. And we'll conclude the session with a brilliant editorial that talks about the food security and how Odisha as a state government, from the deprived state of rice, they have made a surplus progress in terms of the overall accumulations of the rice. So something very important in terms of case studies as well. You can even use this as an example process. Now let's get started with the detailed analysis of the news one by one. So the first important news is about Supreme Court that has come up with upholding the abrogation of Article 370, and not only 370, जो स्पेशल स्टेटस दी गई थी जम्मू एंड कश्मीर को अंडर आर्टिकल 35A, उसको भी वैलिड बताया कि ये दोनों जो एब्रोगेट की है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने, द यूनियन गवर्नमेंट हैज वॉट एवर दे हैव डन इज अंडर द कैपेसिटी ऑफ द पावर एंड इवन अंडर द प्रूडेंस ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया. So this is what the Honorable Supreme Court, this was a constitutional bench थी, 5 judges की bench, which was headed by the Chief Justice of India. CJI was actually heading. बहुत सारी discussions हुई हैं. There are a lot of other debate that has gone into it. We are not from the legal fraternity, so we'll be not dealing anything in detail to that. But I'll be telling you all other important points that is relevant from the examination point of view. So the constitutional bench of the Supreme Court has upheld the power of the president to abrogate Article 370, which specifically gives special power to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, right? और इसके बाद जम्मू एंड कश्मीर को यूटी में भी बनाया गया. So Supreme Court has held that everything that has been done were under the constitutional spirit. और खास करके अगर प्रेसिडेंट की पावर की बात करें, the part of the president power was actually valid and the President of India is authorized to do so. Something very, very important. This will have a wide ambit of part of, if you look at the dimensions which is called, I mean बहुत ज़्यादा इसके impact होंगे, and this become important case study as well. Prelims में उसके साथ साथ मेंस में भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पावर, प्रेसिडेंट के पावर और किस तरह से स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर फंक्शंस करती है, ये सारे टॉपिक्स आपके एग्जाम के लिए रेलेवेंट है. Now, what was the observation that was categorically made by the Supreme Court? As I've told you, it was a constitutional bench. So when a constitutional bench deliver a judgment, it become very important not only for India but also for the political parties to adhere and not to comment on the judgment that was provided by the court. The court was actually headed by the CJI, that is Mr. Justice T.Y. Chandrachud, and they have unanimously upheld their decision that government, I mean, the part of the decision taken by the government to abrogate Article 370 which was actually a temporary provision. So this is point to be noted. कोर्ट ने कहा कि ये एक्चुअली जो 370 की आर्टिकल थी, this was not permanent. This was a kind of a temporary provision which has continued for a long. Now this verdict was in the batches where the petition challenged the central government 2019 मूव टू डिलीट आर्टिकल 370. तो प्ली के थ्रू चैलेंज की गई थी, कोर्ट को अप्रोच किया गया था कि 2019 में जो गवर्नमेंट ने एब्रोगेट किया है वो एक्चुअल में वैलिड नहीं है. नाउ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज गिवन इट्स रबर स्टैम्प. नाउ देयर विल बी नो मोर डिबेट टू दिस. Now, the court has held that the state of Jammu and Kashmir has no integral sovereignty, right? And it is in concurrence with the state government and was not required to apply with the Indian constitution of the state of J&K. कोई separate constitution नहीं हो सकती, as the Home Minister has specifically highlighted this point in Lok Sabha, in the Parliament. He has said that there cannot be two constitution in a single country, right? I mean, it is pretty obvious. We can have certain privileges to a specific community of J&K, but definitely we cannot have two constitution as of such. To make India a unanimous, integral, sovereign country, we definitely should have a single constitution, right? The court has also refused to rule out the validity of the presidential rule that was imposed in Jammu and Kashmir in December 2018. तो जिस बातों पे एक्चुअली प्ली फाइल की गई थी, द प्ली वाज फाइल्ड ऑन सर्टेन पार्ट, एंड एक्चुअल दिस वाज बीन चैलेंज्ड ऑन द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट, बट सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कैटेगोरिकली हर एक जो आर्ग्यूमेंट्स थे उसके वैलिड रीजंस देते हुए उसे अपहोल्ड किया. Now, what next? This is what the big question is. So, the next question and the next course of action in this regard will be definitely to establish a democratic setup. And how a democratic setup can be established? It can be established by conducting the elections process. So, election is a way out in this context. So, Supreme Court ने Election Commission को direct किया है that go ahead with the J&K Assembly by September 30th, 2024. This is what Honorable Court has taken on record, and this become very important. अगर बात करें representations of people की, खास करके J&K के region के, तो उनके लिए ज़रूरी है कि वो अपनी representations, अपने leaders को खुद चुने, and that can be only done through the election and not by the LG or that is being regulated by the central government. Further, the court has stated that the restoration of the statehood shall take place as soon as possible. So these two important observations by the Honorable Supreme Court. If you are writing specifically main examination, तो मेंस में आप ये जरूर लिखें, एक तो इलेक्शन कमीशन को इलेक्शन कंडक्ट करवानी है बाय 2024 सितंबर 30th, और जो स्टेटहुड है वो रिस्टोर करानी बहुत ही ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. These two must be done by the central government. Now, there was some legal opinion that was divided in this context. I'm giving you just to make more things more clear for you. कुछ for और against के statement देख लें. For में ये कहा गया कि जो आर्टिकल 370 है, that is a temporary provision, जो मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में बता दिया. Special privilege were there temporary and cannot counter the right. And oppositions with Article 14, which guarantee the equality for all, right? And can be revoked through the presidential order. But against में जो argument थे, उनका कहना था that the same provision of Article 370 cannot be used to dilute it. This is what was against argument. Parliament cannot replace the state legislature within the governor, with the governor meaning that UT में जो regulations होती है वो lieutenant governor की ही होती है, right? Not seeking state legislation, not against the spirit of the consultation. Definitely in a democratic setup, अगर वहाँ पे assembly होती तो एक cooperative federalism को ध्यान में रखते हुए state के साथ तो coordination करनी ही थी. The state president said that the parliament approval for their abrogation, right? Now, these are some of the important points that was specifically for and against Article 370. Now, moving ahead with other news, that CBI and FBI discusses cooperations in tackling the cybercrime, something very important for a country like India, where the apex agency like Central Bureau of Investigations has made a collaborations with the Federal Bureau of Investigation of United States. The Federal Bureau of Investigation के जो director हैं, he has met the CBI chief, and both of them has actually made a discussion जहाँ पे cultural जो खास करके exchange of information है, the information which actually help in terms of reducing the crime, the organized crime which is taking across the globe, and specifically between these two countries will be taken into considerations. Now, focus area of discussions की अगर बात करें, first and foremost, let's say that the strengthening of the exchange of information. See, when it comes to part of crime, the information sharing become very important. तो जो criminal matters होंगे, जो criminals matter हैं, उनके information share की जाएगी between the CBI and the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigations. Improving the coordinations in combating the transnational crime, the crime which is taking place outside the boundary of the country, but involvement is there from India or entity linked to India will be also taken into consideration. sharing expertise in terms of investigation for the technology enabled crime, कोई IT related crime हो या फिर कोई specific ऐसे crimes हो, उनमें भी assistance दी जाएगी by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is a premier investigation agency of United States, right? Now expedite the part of sharing evidence and closer assistance to bring criminal and fugitive to the justice, right? So for which particular region they belong, the justice will be ensured and the court of law will be the final authority to take a call on that. And there were some allegations from the US side, a high profile visit taking place in the backdrop of the US allegation. What was this allegation? This allegation linked India to foil a plot to kill six separatist leaders on the American soil. This is what the allegation has been there. But amid this, the visit has been there, and this definitely make things more clear both for India and United States. India has already constituted the proof to investigate. खास करके अगर बात करें investigations की with this plotting will be taken into consideration, and it was decided that raising the training academics for both investigation agency, the agency include the FBI and the CBI, they will have a training process, the best practices among each other so that they can augment the overall part and strengthen the part of the investigations between the each other, and even it will help mutually both countries. Now moving ahead, central government has decided to withdraw the three criminal law bill, something again very important because there were a lot of debate ongoing from the time the bill was actually tabled, right? So central government ने decide किया है that they will be coming up with the changes, and they have decided that they will withdraw this three bill which was actually aimed to replace the Indian Penal Code, Indian Evidence Act and the Code of Criminal Procedures. Now, background की अगर बात करें, I think most of you must be aware of this. This bill was actually tabled in August 2023 और इस टाइम में मैंने आपके साथ डिटेल में डिस्कशन किया था. This bill was named as भारतीय नागरिक सुरक्षा संहिता, भारतीय साक्ष्य संहिता and other the bill that was there, right? So this actually aims to replace the part of the previous existence law which was there. So the bill seeks to replace the Code of Criminal Procedures, the Indian Penal Code Act and the Indian Evidence Act, जिसे Indian भारतीय साक्ष्य Act भी कहते हैं, right? So the new bill was actually referred to the Departmental Standing Committee, जो Ministry of Home के अंदर आती है. For every ministry we have a dedicated departmental committee. तो Public Standing Departmental Committee ने actual में जो Parliamentary Standing Committee है, this is called PSC, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs, has taken into consideration, and after final things the government is actually deciding that they will withdraw the part of the bill. Now the bill was actually introduced in the Lok Sabha. These are the three details that is mentioned. Indian Penal Code was about to be replaced with the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2002, जिसमें sections जो थे ये सारे details हैं. I'm not repeating it. I have already made a discussion, a detailed discussion to this. Now Code on the Criminal Procedures को 1973 को replace करके भारतीय नागरिक सुरक्षा संहिता बनाने की बात की गई थी और इसमें जो पुराने sections थे उसमें sections बढ़ाए गए थे. Now the Indian Evidence Act of 1872, just to remind you, these two are the colonial law that existed, right? इसको भारतीय साक्ष्य संहिता बिल के नाम से लाया गया था, where there were 170 sections that were there instead of 167. So these were some of the major changes proposed by the union government, but after the final withdrawal we have to wait whether government is coming up with any changes or amendment to the existing laws, right? Now moving ahead, RBI had made a cautions against the loan waiver. There are some fraudulent activities ongoing in the country with regards to the loan waiver, and the advertisements are also there that the fraudulent are making a call and telling that we are making a loan waiver, you need to pay certain amount with certain time and your loan will be waived off. So these are some of the fraudulent activities ongoing. तो उसको देखते हुए RBI ने caution लिया है, and they have asked people not to even respond to such mail, SMS or any links that is provided. Now guideline by the Reserve Bank of India, RBI ने advise किया है, do not fall into prey of the false misleading campaign जो कि एक्चुअल में चल रही है, और किसी भी तरह से अगर इस तरह की चीजें होती है तो उसे रिपोर्ट करने की जरूरत है विद पुलिस or with the law enforcement agencies, right? This is what the RBI has categorically said in its advisory. और ये जो मूव है काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज जो मिसलीडिंग एडवर्टीजमेंट है विद रिगार्ड्स टू लोन वेवर, right? This is something creating a problem for many individuals. The people who are actually having the hard earned money, they are making a losses to it, right? If you know someone, please ask them to, with this kind of activities that they are facing with, उससे पूरी तरह से बचें और इस तरह की चीज़ों को रिस्पॉन्ड ना करें. RBI has urged individual to exercise the cautions and refrain from engaging with some dubious promises. जो इस तरह के खास करके जो झूठे मैसेजेस हैं, जो फेक प्रोमिसेस हैं, उनसे बचने की जरूरत है. The Apex Bank, that is the Reserve Bank of the country, have also identified several entities engaged in the dubious scheme that also print social and media platforms. Now, कुछ और ऐसे ऑनलाइन अगर पेमेंट स्कैम्स की बात करें जो इंडिया में ऑलरेडी ऑपरेटिंग है, दिस कैन बी अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन. फिशिंग अटैक्स, जहाँ पे यूजुअली आपको ईमेल या मैसेज के थ्रू, फेक वेबसाइट्स के थ्रू आपके सेंसिटिव इन्फॉर्मेशन को एक्चुअली में they take out your details like login credentials, credit card details, or personal information. Then identity theft, which is there, scammer misuse the personal information to impersonate individual, which is unauthorized access to making a fraudulent transactions. The third important type of the fraud that is taking place is an OTP scam. This is the latest one, जहाँ पे आपसे आपकी OTP one time password मांगी जाती है that you have a delivery. If you don't want, you can just tell me the OTP and we'll cancel it out. But this is something, again, this will take all your important the part of the vital information which is there. फेक क्यू आर कोड भी स्कैन हो रही है जहाँ पे लेटेस्ट मेथड यूज करके फ्रॉस्टर स्टील कर रहे हैं मनी फ्रॉम द पीपल. एंड यूपीआई फ्रॉड इज मोस्ट कॉमन वेयर द पार्ट ऑफ पेटीएम एंड फोन पे वेर यूज्ड, जहाँ पे आपको अनऑथराइज्ड यूपीआई ट्रांजेक्शंस कराने पे और आपकी यूपीआई पिन एंटर करवा के दे टेक मनी आउट, राइट? सो मेनी पीपल आर एक्चुअली नॉट अवेयर ऑफ दिस फ्रॉडलेंट एक्टिविटीज. इफ यू नो समवन, मेक श्योर दैट एटलीस्ट आप 2 से 3 लोगों को बताएं ताकि वो आगे इस तरह के इन्फॉर्मेशन को पास ऑन करें. Only awareness is something where we can overcome this problem. So we as a citizen, as a smart citizen, we should definitely tell our other peer group members that you should refrain from doing such activities. Now moving ahead with the editorial for the day that talks about harvest the Odisha story to ensure the food security. Now something very important for country like India. Food security की अगर बात करें, food security काफ़ी important इंडिया में, where India's close to 80 करोड़ of the people, जहाँ पे 80 करोड़ लोग, हमारे टोटल 130 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन में 180 करोड़ टोटल, you can see even 60% of the people are actually are deprived of food. So ये प्रॉब्लम है इंडिया में. तो फूड सिक्योरिटी इंश्योर करना बहुत ही ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. इसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने कई ऐसे स्कीम को एक्सटेंड भी किए हैं, बट विल सी हाउ द उड़ीसा मॉडल हैज़ बीन अ ट्रेमेंडस प्रोग्रेस एंड सक्सेस इन दिस रिगार्ड. So what we'll be looking, first we'll see the Odisha food security model किस तरह से काम कर रही है. उन्होंने 3 अप्रोच पे काम किया था. पहला है एग्रीकल्चर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, दूसरा रिलायंस एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी, एंड थर्ड इज द सोशल प्रोटेक्शंस. So if you look at the current COP, that is COP 28, which is there at UAE में हो रही है, दुबई में. यहाँ पे सारे लीडर्स इकट्ठे हुए हैं, and they are making actual addressing the escalating part of the climate crisis. Not only the climate crisis, but even the pollutions which is there, even the climate change which is there, and how we can opt for clean energy. That is a part of the major discussion. But there is a dire consequences poses threat to planet peace and prosperity. And we need to look upon that. The projection has been indicated that there will be surge in the disasters to 560 annually, 1.5 disaster per day. Right? This is what has been anticipated. और इस तरह से अगर अनचेक्ड क्लाइमेट चेंज रही तो ये सारी चीज़ें और प्रॉब्लम्स बढ़ा सकती हैं. 20% rise in the hunger. These are the data about the hunger and malnutrition, and global warming can even increase by 21% with decline in the food productivity. तो 21% तक की जो food production है उसमें decline होगी, with the fact and to ensure that actually India has a problem of food security. वहाँ पे अगर 21% और decline होती है तो इसके बहुत ही ज़्यादा नेगेटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज होंगे. नाउ ओडिशा मॉडल की अगर बात करें, ओडिशा इज अ स्टेट विच हैज़ बिन क्रिपल्ड विद द पार्ट ऑफ क्लाइमेट इश्यूज. वहाँ पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा स्ट्रेन लाइवलीहुड ऑप्शंस थे, और इस चीज़ को ध्यान में रखते हुए उड़ीसा को अपनी फूड सिक्योरिटी के मॉडल में चेंजेस लाने की काफ़ी ज़्यादा ज़रूरत थी. इट हैज़ बिन सीन दैट उड़ीसा हैज़ बिल्ड अप इक्विटेबल सस्टेनेबल फूड सिक्योरिटी प्रोग्राम offering something which for the global consideration. और इस चीज़ को उन्होंने SDG गोल को भी अचीव किया, एंड बेसिकली दे आर यूनेस्को हैज़ ऑल्सो टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन, यूनिसेफ ने भी इन सारी चीज़ों को कॉग्निजेंस पे लिया और उड़ीसा के जो मॉडल्स है उसको अप्रिशिएट भी किया, राइट। Now, how the Odisha has actually come up? इसमें तीन important themes हैं. I'll be telling you the three themes where they have actually worked. First was on the agriculture transformation. See, before the agriculture transformation was not made, Odisha जो क्या थी वो import करती थी rice को, right? And now they have a record productions of 13.606 million ton in 2022. So from a deprived state, from a negative figure, they have a surplus. They have a surplus of rice which is there, right? Now, Kalandi district is known as the land of hunger, but now is transformed as Odisha rice bowl. I really appreciate the effort of the state government and the potential work that was done by the teamwork, right? So this is something which definitely should be taken into consideration. Odisha's successful achievement of zero hunger, which is an SDG goal target, SDG के target 2 के achieve करने के लिए भी इसने बहुत हद तक मदद किया. Other schemes like Kilia scheme and even the extension was for the non-paddy and reducing the part of cultivations. The paddy cultivations के लिए भी ये काफी informative और helpful रही. Now, initiatives like Odisha Millet Missions has promoted the crop diversity and climate resilience. Now, the second important part is the Odisha due to its vulnerability. खास करके अगर geography की बात करें, वहाँ पे ऐसी conditions है because of climate change, the flood is a major problem in Odisha, right? एंड सब्सिक्वेंट टू दैट बहुत सारी ऐसे प्रॉब्लम्स है क्लाइमेट चेंज को लेकर के जो वहाँ पे एग्जिस्टेंस प्रॉब्लम बनी हुई थी, उसको लेकर के गवर्नमेंट ने एक कम्प्रीहेंसिव क्लाइमेट एक्शंस प्लान बनाया CCAP, राइट. एंड दे हैव एक्चुअली वर्क. इस प्लान में एग्रीकल्चर, कोस्टल जोन प्रोटेक्शंस, एनर्जी, फिशरीज, एनिमल रिसोर्सेज, हेल्थ, माइनिंग, ट्रांसपोर्ट, अर्बन वाटर और ये सारे अर्बन एंड वाटर रिसोर्सेज पे खासा ध्यान दिया. दीज आर द एक्चुअल फोकस एरिया वेयर गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हैज मेड अ फोकस. And through this approach, the climate resilience development were there with a bottom-up approach. By bottom-up approach, they have actually worked from the ground, reaching out to the top. Bottom-up approach is the best approach for the government programs and policies. Now, the third is the social protections. Once we have ensured that nutritional security is there, social protection is a mandate. Government of India ने भी बहुत सारे social protection schemes लाए हैं, but looking into the state part, Odisha government has actually made the paddy surplus state. This is something with the Fourth Food Corporation of India and its contribution. खास करके अगर FCI की बात करें, they have made a substantial contribution to the FCI as well. It has produced 9% of India's right and contributed 4.22% of the country total food grain production. This is something which is really appreciable. A state which was actually importing, अब वो surplus होकर के FCI के गोडाउन में अपनी contribution दे रही है. The UN Food Program and the Odisha government has collaborated in innovative pilot products like biometric tech Ragda and rice fortification in Gajapati that has actually helped with the part of food and nutritional security scheme. तो ये सारी schemes है वहाँ के district level पे काम की हैं, ensuring that the bottom up approach at the district level has helped the state to take a part of acclaim or even the part of responsibility. और इस तरह की रिवॉर्ड मूवमेंट में पूरी स्टेट को इन जनरल एक रिकॉग्निशन मिली है इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे. नाउ द वे फॉरवर्ड, उड़ीसा हैड मेड अ रिमार्केबल शिफ्ट फ्रॉम द स्कैर्सिटी टू सरप्लस और बहुत सारे ऐसे क्लाइमेट प्रूफिंग, क्रॉप्स डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, प्रायोरिटाइजिंग द स्मॉल होल्डर्स, ये सारी चीज़ों को प्रायोरिटाइज करते हुए प्रोग्रेस मेड की गई है. द गवर्नमेंट हैज एंडेवर्ड प्रोवाइडिंग डिस्टिंक्टिव डेवलपमेंट amid the global climate changes, serving the aspirations to the other state. Not only for the statehood और खास करके इंडिजिनस वहाँ के लोकल लोगों के लिए, उसके साथ साथ इसने दूसरे स्टेट को भी हेल्प किया by providing the surplus grain, whether it is rice, wheat, the part mostly rice is there. तो surplus rice के जो खास करके surplus थे वो FCI godowns में भी शेयर किए गए. So this is how a state which was actually deprived of has made a substantial progress with working out as the stages with the bottom up approach. Now moving ahead with the answers discussions of yesterday questions, कल के जो सवाल हैं उसके correct option. For first the correct option is A. इसमें options first correct है and option that is the only correct. Option 3 and option 2 are not correct. This was with regards to aquaculture. Pause this video, read out the statement one by one and check what you have marked as a correct option. The second question was about the part of CFE. यहाँ पे option C correct है. Both the statement are correct. Statement 1 और statement 2 दोनों correct हैं. You can read out the complete explanation and even you can check your correct answers. Moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, the first question is about the River Cities Alliance. आपको बताना है इनमें से कौन कौन से options correct हैं. It is the first of its kind alliance in the world, symbolizing the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Ministry of Housing, Urban Affairs in the collaboration. So do check out for the correct option. You'll be also getting the part of NIF. आज के NIF के discussions भी ये हैं, तो आप उस पर डिटेल में भी देख पाएंगे कि कैसे वो काम करती है. The alliance activity is based on the Department of Water Resources and River Development. It focuses on key thematic, that is networking, capacity building, and technical support. So check out for the correct option, and you have to make your participation. How you can make? Just write question number 1. Write your correct option like A, B, C, or D, and you can write this in your comment section down below. Now the second question of the day is about the Jammu and Kashmir bill. Recently Supreme Court ने abrogate किया, stand किया उस particular जो खास करके central government की stand थी. उसमें आपको बताना है the part of proposes ban on the group previously known as other backward classes or social caste. The Jammu and Kashmir reorganization bill proposes to appoint the member from the Kashmiri migrant community. So check out, these are going to be relevant for prelims as well. So simply you have to just write question number 2. उसके बाद अपने जो options हैं, what you feel is correct, followed by your answer. You can provide us that in the comment section down below. Your participation will be really appreciable. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, queries about test series, admissions and programs, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying connected.